name is Sheridan Ruth, and I am here to welcome you home. This is the Exposed podcast. Where we reveal the body-based ways to ease anxiety, heal trauma, and create an empowered connection with love and money using nervous system regulation and a healthy dose of self-compassion. Today we're going to talk about what your business and your life looks like before we address trauma and dysregulation inside of the nervous system, and after we address trauma and dysregulation inside of the nervous system. I'm going to tell you about a session I had last week that has just, honestly, the session was so impactful. It has been in my head. It's literally been 7 days and like 4 hours. And we've been talking about it on social media. So let's talk about it here. So let's talk about, first of all, what life and your work day looks like when we do not address trauma in the body, or stagnant emotions inside of the body, or anxiety inside of the body, or dysregulation in the nervous system. Obviously, for each person, this is going to look highly individual, but we can kind of paint a picture that will be a little bit similar across the board. And of course, this is your life and your body, and you know yourself best. So if what I'm saying, you're like, Sheridan, that doesn't even begin to touch on my experience, but I just have a feeling that there's something deeper, then I trust you, and I trust your intuition, and I trust your feeling that there is something deeper. Okay. My cat is being very rambunctious, aren't you, baby? Well, so I'm going to be pulling on the situation that I was working with last week with a client. And it looks something like you make your way to your computer and you sit down, and even that, when we have a lot of resistance and trauma and pain inside of the body, even though we want our business so bad that we want to serve people, even that can be a difficult thing to do, to actually get to the point where you sit down in front of your computer, you pull out your phone, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to work on this thing. Even that is an accomplishment. So you work through that part and you get there, and maybe tension fills your chest and things start to get icky. So you open your phone and you get distracted, and all of a sudden maybe you order some groceries instead, or you scroll on social media, or you'll decide to go and journal, or you go down rabbit holes of thinking, oh, well, I need to, maybe this isn't the right way, I need to change my font, or actually I need to message this one person, or something about that. You're so worried about being seen and being judged, and it feels so raw and vulnerable that you go down these rabbit holes of shiny objects syndrome, keeping yourself busy. Or perhaps you push forward, you push through, and you post and you do, and you connect with people, and then you plan, and crickets follow, and it's not as impactful as you knew that it could have been, and something feels off and something feels wrong, and your mind goes down into, is it you? Is it somebody else? Is it the season? Is it the plan? Is it the people? Is it the platform? Is it your employee? Is it the offer? Is it your certification? Is it your lack of something? And go round and round in circles, and no wonder you feel exhausted and overwhelmed. And this can be further impacted by little messages that you get, comments and emails, whether they just be feedback or differences of opinions, but they feel like personal attacks, and they send you into flashbacks of being bullied where you were younger, or being the black sheep, or not being accepted by your ex, 10 years ago or 2 years ago or 1 day ago. And you don't want to be wrong, and you don't want to fail, and you don't want to not be good enough, or maybe you're nervous about working with men, but only men keep coming to you. We have a podcast coming up about that soon. But what ends up happening is that your mind starts inventing problems to fix. Your to-do list fills. And it can be very hard to identify what is really going to move the needle forward in this phase of your business. Because even if you've had really amazing, amazing experiences prior, and you've made all this money before, that doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to be what you need to be focusing on now in this version of your business, this phase of your life, and this version of your body and your psyche. So a lot of the time what happens is you do all of these things and you think that you're being productive, but in reality you are dulling the whispers of success that come from your bones. Not to mention wasting your time and energy, which are the two most scarce resources that you have, and the two most valuable resources that you have. Now, you can think your way forward. You can. But this is where we get into the space, you know, where Einstein says that a solution cannot be created from the same consciousness that the problem was. So you can think your way there, or you can find your body, and your body can lead the way to success. But for that to happen, you need to learn your body's language. Its triggers, its resistance, its truth, what Norwich said, its electric yes. What's going to make it feel motivated to show up consistently? What's going to create heart coherence and magnetism for you? Because your best friend, your business bestie, Becky, she has a strategy that works for her body and her business. Her strategy was not made for your body. Your body was not made for her strategy. Your strategy was not made for her body. Her body was not made for your strategy. So your mind can go and use inspiration from all of these people and try and fix things. You can even ask it from me or your coach or anything. But at the end of the day, we need to know what your body needs to have the success and satisfaction that your mind and your heart and your soul is desiring. And this sounds very kind of intangible, let's be honest. It sounds really pretty, right? Sometimes. So I want to share with you a story about what this actually looks like in motion. And I want you to visualize yourself going through this process with me. And as you visualize yourself going through this process with me, what I'm going to be doing is just describing the process that I went through last week with my client. And of course, every process is highly individual and highly unique, but this might be a little bit of a taste in your body. You can begin, and maybe you'll find some of your own answers as we move through it together. So my client, Helen, came to me, and her problem that her mind was telling her that she had was that she just couldn't, she would sit down to a computer and she wanted to create content and she wanted to share, and she knew that the people that she wants to serve, she knows that they're on Instagram, but she just couldn't, she was frozen in that sense. She's like, I can't get myself to post something, even though I know what they need and I know what I need. I just can't quite get there. So here's what we did. First thing we did is we connected down into the body. We got, okay, we kind of took a snapshot, what's happening in the body in that moment where it's like, I want you, but I just can't. And through what we call somatic dialoguing, what I call somatic dialoguing, we address the past experiences that she has had that were activating shame and embarrassment and this internal pressure and this overthinking inside of her experience. Some of these past experiences felt kind of trivial sometimes. I know for me, a lot of the time, it's like, I got an email from my boss once that was really embarrassing. And I sometimes am like nervous that that's going to happen again when I get notifications. Some of her experiences and some of the experiences that might be activated for you are going to be bigger. They're going to be, being bullied when you were 10 years old. They're going to be triggering that feeling that you had when you were 12 and your boyfriend broke your heart and you learned that connection equaled pain. Being yourself equaled pain. They're going to be bigger. But we need to address these past experiences, not go so far deep into them all of the time, but acknowledge them. Move the energy through the body, create safety through the body, and find wisdom and regulation again. Before we wrap this episode up, I'm going to take a few minutes to share with you an invitation that will support you in taking this work deeper. There could be various reasons why you're here listening today. Perhaps you are a client, a friend, or a colleague. Maybe we just found each other, or maybe we've known each other for a while. What I know to be true is that you're likely here because you're ready to develop the tools to bounce back from the difficulties of life quickly and with more ease by having the tools to regulate your nervous system and find inner peace instead of inner conflict for good. You know that you are ready to say goodbye to the nagger inner critic voice telling you how you should be or getting stuck in the endless what ifs of anxiety. You're ready to know how to set boundaries with your loved ones in a way that increases the love, trust, and connection and doesn't just feel like isolating walls. And you are ready to finally increase your resilience and your body's ability to feel more in control of your big emotions without trying to manipulate them so that you can find your innate wisdom. You're ready to finally celebrate the growth of your relationship or your business without experiencing shame and guilt, even though you're experiencing quicker success than those around you. I support all of my clients in this through a framework of nervous system regulation, emotional alchemy, and self-trust cultivation. And this podcast is just the tip of the iceberg. This is why I'm extending an invitation for you to book a free expansion call, where on this call, we will dive even deeper into exactly what you need to go from feeling overwhelmed, managing big emotions, and falling into anxiety or depression as a result, to having the tools to regulate them quickly and with ease. In this free 30-minute call, you will receive free coaching and support around your unique personal situation. And we will explore whether or not coaching is going to be the best fit for you at this time. Some of the results that clients have achieved after just their expansion call are deep acceptance of their differences, so much that when they share their story now, they attribute most of their self-acceptance to this one 30-minute call, or signing a client right after the call because they leaned into the embodiment work, or feeling deeply seen and understood so much that now when they go to ask their partner for a hug, they no longer feel needy when they're doing it and they get the hug. Or switching one habit that they had when communicating with their partner for another and witnessing more harmony and peace in the relationship instead of resentment and nitpicking. And you deserve this too. So you will find the link in the podcast notes to lock your free call in ASAP. When you book this call, you can expect to walk away with clear, tangible ideas on how to apply this work to your life, and you'll decide if you would like to work with me one-on-one in the process of becoming more resilient and regulated. Then we hooked into what motivates her. For her, it's money. She's motivated by money. I'm not motivated by money. We've spoken about this in one of the other podcasts. I think it's episode 24. I'm not into money. It doesn't motivate me. So tap into what motivates you. Maybe it's money, maybe it's serving, maybe it's being recognized, maybe it's being able to take your kids on holiday. Tap into what motivates you. And then we used my nervous system priming technique to help her show up on social media and get paid for it every single time. That was her desire, to show up on social media and get paid for it every single time. And I'm not even kidding. Literally 19 hours later, she sends me a message and I'm like sweating. walking up this hill. I'm so excited. I'm like, I'm going to go get my dress. I got it tailored. So excited. It is a hot, sunny day here. I'm sweating. I pull out my phone and she's like, Sheridan. Wait, I'm going to find it. She's like, Sheridan, what did I just say? Let's see. Oops, that's not it. Yeah. She's like, I posted a story yesterday, just got a coaching book, literally making money every time I show up. OMG. I posted a real TikTok today after more than a year. Her goal was to show up every day and get paid for it. And she literally did within 19 hours. The thing is, the 3 steps that I've just described there are often the shortcut to the results that you want, that your mind is actually trying to avoid. Your mind will tell you that it's not the right technique, it's not the right thing, it doesn't make sense, you don't have time, you don't know how to do it. Those are things the mind says, but the quickest way to get to what you want is through the maps in the body. Now, that doesn't mean that every single time you're going to do it, it's going to be as quick as happening in 19 hours and that you're wrong if it hasn't happened like this, but it does mean that it is probable that it will. And if it hasn't worked yet, you might just be running into some blockages in your unique body-based map. The good news, that is exactly what I'm an expert at helping people untangle. So that you too can have that wonderful experience 19 hours after your first coaching call, beaming with joy and messaging me that you are reaching your goals. Because think about your goals. What would happen if you weren't procrastinating? What would happen if you weren't getting distracted? What would happen if you knew the exact things, the posture, the body, the energy, the words, the thoughts, the emotions, and the actions that would create sales in your business, in this phase of your business, in this body, in this soul, and this psyche that you're in today, not the one that you were in last year? What would happen if you weren't afraid of being wrong, of making a mistake, of failing, of enjoying what you have here? And as I ask this, your mind is probably going to go 2 spaces, 2 ways. One, you're thinking, you're getting excited, and it feels good and it feels safe and it feels nourishing to like lean in and if that's you, take a moment, just take 20 seconds, close your eyes and ignore the next thing I say, and just think about what would happen if all of this felt really safe to do and to enjoy. How would that change my finances? How would that change my relationships? How would that change how I eat and sleep and interact with my loved ones? What would change? And if that doesn't feel possible and exciting, and actually maybe it feels really far away and really difficult and hopeless and maybe a little bit confusing, we're going to start with that. So if it feels possible and exciting, that's the base where we begin. And if it feels far away and confusing and hopeless, that's the base where we begin. Because that feeling of like, it can't work for me, it feels really far away, I literally can't even imagine it, it's blurry, that is a sign that there is some trauma that's being activated that's not letting you envision yourself moving forward. Even though there's a whisper inside saying, I want to, which is why you're here. Because, and this is my favorite part about the structure that I have created inside of my business, is that we get to do this personalized work. Because depending on where you start as you begin to think about your goals is going to change the path that you take forward. We need to believe that it's safe and possible and probable before we start doing all the other work. Once we're at that space where it's safe and possible and probable, then the path is different, right? We go somewhere else. But this is why I make all of my office and the entire structure of how I do everything very, 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 very highly personalized. We start where you are. Most importantly, we start where your body is and where your nervous system is, not where your mind wants to pretend that you are, your ego tells that you are. we go deeper. So to learn the language of your body and how to apply its wisdom to business so that you can 2 times your income and your impact, I'm inviting you to schedule a gifted, so free expansion call literally today. Go, like, we're not going to have a call today, but go and schedule it today so you can get on my calendar. On this call in 30 minutes, we are going to pick one goal that you are working on. Maybe it's procrastination or launching a group program or sending an email or identifying your sales process or going offline and opening a studio in your town. And then we are going to identify the top 4 body-based steps that your nervous system needs to get you to that goal, so you know exactly what to focus on over the next few months. Then we're going to discuss how my program, Body-Based Business, can help you get there, just like it has for my client, Helen. This call is completely free, and there are no commitments at all. You are welcome to walk away and say, thanks for the free call. Love that so much, Sheridan. Bye. Speak to you soon. I'll keep listening to the podcast. But if it genuinely feels really amazing together when we're talking, we will have a conversation about how body-based business can support you. You will find the link below. You can also go to www.sheridanruth.com/expansion. And if you have any hesitancies or questions specifically about the call and what to expect on the call, what it's for, if it's for you, what it's not for, send me a message. Find me on Instagram, Sheridan Ruth, or send me back a response to an email if you're on my email list. Send me a message, ask a question. I can only address things that I know that you're asking, and there are no silly questions. So I cannot wait to speak with you and to see you on your expansion call. A big and special thanks to Upturned for composing this magical piece of music, and to GS Studios for mixing it. To find Upturned's other tracks or ask for your own special custom piece of music, go say hello using their contact details in the show notes.